Hi everyone, this is Samantha from the Dancing Soap Dish. Today we're doing a special Mother's Day project, rose bath salt cakes. So believe it or not, these are bath salts, but what I've done is I've added some moisture to them and pressed them into a mold, and they have set hard into this beautiful pink rose shape. Now they contain Epsom salts and pink Himalayan salt, which is where they get their pink color from. There's all natural colorings in this recipe. They smell divine because I have scented them with beautiful rose essential oil. They make a beautiful addition to a gift box or even just on their own. They're so easy to make, even the kids can get involved. And today I'm going to show you how you can make them for yourself. So the full recipe and printable tutorial is available on the Dancing Soap Dish website. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what we do. There's plenty more wonderful recipes coming up in the future. Okay, let's get started. Grab yourself a large mixing bowl and add 1/3 of a cup of Epsom salts, 1/3 of a cup of fine pink Himalayan salt, and 1/3 of a cup of sifted baking soda or bicarb soda, depending on where you are in the world. Give it a really good stir until all the salts and baking soda are mixed thoroughly. Then it's time for wet ingredients. I'm going to add a teaspoon of carrier oil. I've selected sweet almond oil because it's really good for the skin. But you can choose whatever carrier oil or combination of carrier oils you please. It's really just an opportunity to customize your bath salts and make them a little bit extra luxurious for mum. I'm also adding 1/4 of a teaspoon of pre-diluted essential oils. So I have a doTERRA Rose Touch, which is a rose essential oil diluted in fractionated coconut oil. So you can use a pre-diluted blend, or you can blend up your own. Don't forget when using essential oils to make sure you use the proper dilution rates. You can also use fragrance oil to scent your bath salt cakes if you wish. I also have here some beautiful rose water, which I'm going to add. Water is the ingredient that brings the bath salt cakes together and allows them to harden. I'm using rose water today for obvious reasons, because it will add to the beautiful rose scent of the rose bath salt cakes. You can all use any hydrosol you like. Alternatively, you can use just plain water, but it does need to be distilled or at least demineralized so that you don't introduce any bacteria into your bath salt cakes. That is all of the ingredients so far. And I say so far because normally the moisture does need to be adjusted for this recipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it all up, and I'm going to make myself just a test cake just to see if I'm happy with how the mixture's going. This is the mold I'm going to be using today. It's a single cavity rose mold. I picked it up on AliExpress. I'll put a link in the description. There are rose molds like this which are available, which you could also use. There's a slight difference in size here, but they're essentially the same. For those of you who are wondering why I use a single cavity mold when I could just fill up multiple cavities at the one time, I'll show you the reason here. Bath salt cakes don't dry very well inside a silicone mold, and when you demold them, they sort of look okay. But then as you sort of try and pick them up or touch them, you'll find that parts of them will just crumble off. Just like that. So I find the best way to make bath salt cakes is to turn them out immediately so you can check that there's no bits missing and that there's no major cracks, and then to let them dry in the open air without the hindrance of a silicone mold. So back to making our first test bath salt cake. Cup the mold in your hand and spoon the mixture into the mold, making sure that you are compacting it as you go. Compaction is a very important part of a bath salt cake. You need the moisture to hold it together, but you also need the compaction to hold it together. If you compact it too loosely, it's just going to crumble. So turn your cake out on a tray lined with greaseproof paper. Just give it a little bit of a tap and then pull the mold away and see what you've got. So this one looks pretty good, but I could tell as I was filling it that it's actually just a little bit too crumbly. There we go. And I think that this mixture is a bit too dry at this stage. So what I'm going to do is put all this back. See, this is what I love about bath salt cakes. If you make a mistake, you just scoop it all up and put it back in and start again. Because I feel that this mixture is too dry, I'm actually going to add some more rose water. I think I'll just add another teaspoon, which might be the rest of this bottle. I hope I don't run out. Oh, that's good. There we go. And I think I'll also just start mixing this with my hands. It's so much easier to mix it with your hands. You can really make sure that it's well mixed when you rub it through your fingers. Gloves are recommended if you are going to mix by hand. So I'm now going to make a second test cake now that I've added more moisture to the recipe. And the reason why you probably will need to adjust the moisture of your recipe every time you make this is because the ingredients that are used hold moisture from the air. So salts and baking soda, they hold moisture, which they get from the air. So if it's humid where you are or if it's dry where you are, there's going to be a different amount of moisture content in your salts and in your baking soda. So depending on the weather, what kind of day it is, what kind of season it is, you may need to add some moisture or take some moisture away. And that's why we're just doing some testing first to make sure that our mixture is ideal before we start pumping out a whole bunch of bath salt cakes. Oh, I'm having trouble lifting this up with these gloves on. There we go. That one looks pretty good. There was a little bit that stayed back in the mold, which you don't necessarily want. Let me just try another one and see how we go. Again, I can't pick up this mold. These gloves are too big for me. There we go. I got it. Okay, yeah, it is leaving behind a little bit inside the mold, and that is an indicator to me that the mixture is now too wet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a little bit more salt just to try and take a bit of the moisture out of the recipe. So this is basic troubleshooting. You make your base recipe, and then if you find that your mixture is too dry, you add some more water. If you find that your mixture is too wet, which you'll be able to see if it doesn't come out of the mold or if parts of it remain stuck in the mold, then you add some more salt. Mix it well again, and here we go. Hopefully this time we've got it right. If I can pick up the mold. There we go. Yep, I'm much happier with that. That looks really good. I'll just show you that there. Okay, I'm happy with how my mixture is at the moment. I might just remake this first cake too. And now I will continue making the rest of my bath salt roses. So with this mixture, there is 1 cup of bath salts because I added 1/3 of a cup of Epsom salt, 1/3 of a cup of pink Himalayan salt, and 1/3 of a cup of baking soda. So if you're having a bath, put all 3 of these bath salt cakes into the bath, and that is the equivalent of a cup of bath salts. If you want to do a foot soak, if mum wants to do a foot soak, you can get a bucket of water and add 1 or 2. The salt is great for exfoliating if you want to pick it up and rub it over your feet. And the carrier oil that you've added will also be really soothing and smoothing to the skin as well. All right, I've got a little bit of mixture left over because I added some extra salt and water, but I'm just going to pop it in here and we'll see how this goes. We'll see how that dries. Okay, I'm going to leave these for a good 24 hours. Do not touch them. They can crumble in the meantime. They'll probably take a good 2 days to set, but they'll be able to be touched after 24 hours. Okay, while we're waiting, I just wanted to show you these. So here are 3 pink bath salt roses. I made these 3 years ago. So when I first published this recipe on the Dancing Soap Dish website. This is some from the batches that I made back then when I was testing it out. So these have been stored for 3 years, these bar salt roses. They don't have a scent anymore. That's sort of evaporated from the outside. They are still rock hard. You can see me tapping them there. There you go. That's how they look from the back. The Epsom salt's gone a little bit white, but that's normal with age. And they are still intact, and they have not grown any mold. They still look very similar to the day that I made them. I'm just going to bring over a bowl of warm water here. I'll pop one in and just see. Oh, look, it's blowing bubbles. That's so cute. And I'll just see if it breaks up like it should do, you know, even after 3 years, if it's not just turned into a stone, and that I won't be able to break it up. But as you can see, I'm just giving it a twirl in the water, and very, very quickly I was able to just break that up back into the bar salts, as you would. So when you go to use these, you just pop them in the bath, run the water over them, break them up, and let the salt dissolve. So that you can sit in your beautiful bath with your fragrance and your oils and have a bit of a relax and a bit of an exfoliate. And I can smell them now. Their scent is coming through because that cake dissolved in the water. My hands, they're feeling so smooth now just from doing that. That's amazing. All right, so I might pop these two back in the bag maybe for another 3 years and see how long I can get these beautiful cakes to hold out for. But the reason I'm showing you this is I'm showing you that you can store these for a while, or you can keep them on display in your bathroom, and they're going to be fine and still usable even after a really long time. So now it is the next day. These have been drying overnight and I can pick them up. They are solid enough. I can pick them up without them crumbling, and these have just turned out so beautifully. I'm really happy with them. This one here, I wasn't sure how it was going to go, and this is quite hard too. Let's see how it came out. Oh yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah, that one's pretty good. All right, it's not as tall as the others because it wasn't a full mold cavity, but there we go. Let's bring over the 2 3-year-old cakes that I have. So there we go, that's an old one and a new one. That's amazing how well they hold up. I'm really pleased with that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial for pink rose bath salt cakes. Remember, if you normally make something like this for Mum for Mother's Day, why not try something like this year instead? They really are gorgeous and beautiful. They smell amazing and they are sure to make Mum smile. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And to all the mums out there, I want to wish you a great and beautiful happy Mother's Day. Enjoy!